who's still currently on the webinar, all of a sudden it just sort of just went out. So I think we're back up and running, and hopefully those who fell off will be able to come back on. We still have, we're getting up to a couple hundred attendees already again. So once again, I apologize for that. Seth, do you want to proceed?
Yes, look out, Rodney. This is what happens if you get close to your time off. They just, it's a tough group, I tell you. So yes, so we had the full-scale launch in the fall of 2007. Again, like I shared that was the informational brochures and letters, media blitz, staff uniforms, and we did create a new packaging, which was a little more expensive at that time, but has decreased in cost as more districts and more people are using more of the attractive packaging. With consistent branding across all points of the school, the public contact cafeterias, water fountains, signs, delivery trucks, etc. If it wasn't moving, we put RealFresh on it. We reached out to the principals, the teachers, administrators, parents, as well as gave presentations at all back-to-school events, PTA meetings, teachers meetings, except the board. So 2007 was a very busy year for us in presenting and full rollout of the RealFresh program. Next, please. These are the posters that came out of the initial RealFresh program, and now, like I said, we have brought those in-house and we have created these posters, and now we produce those out of our office, which has saved us, cut our cost well over 50%. So this is our deli poster. Next, please. Here is our Fresh Mex. That was just created this last year as we implemented the new RealFresh programs in all the secondary levels, and that's where we are using the Fresh Mex idea. We create the burritos the students go through, and we build the burritos, the tacos, salads, and those items for them. So this is our Fresh Mex poster. Next, please. This is kind of our lead poster, Rethinking School Lunch, and it's making us hungry. That's what we kind of lead. That leads in every presentation that's on our vehicles and such. So this is kind of our anchor to the RealFresh program because we thought it said it well as what we were doing. Next, please. Our pizza, the Ford Group. This is the one we have for our pizza, and this is the pizza we use for our lunch program. Next, please. And this is some before afters. This is our initial launch. This is what we're dealing with at our high school, and this is what we had in. And next, please. And through RealFresh, we knew we had to update our sites, and again, so we brought in new equipment. In the back corner, you'll see our rotisserie. Our high schools have rotisseries in them, so we do all our whole-body chickens, free-range chickens, and serve on the open plate to our students. Next, please. This is our outside speed lines. Everything, again, with our RealFresh program. We run our black body, and then we always have the RealFresh incorporated. These are mobile speed lines that we put out at our high school sites. We've installed 2 at this site here. Next, please. And this is our RealFresh Mex. We were able to get a classroom. We gutted it and created the RealFresh branding and put that into a classroom. You can see the students come through, and we build the product for them, and they go through the line. One of the most popular items in our school. Next, please. H2O, again, with the guidelines of water. This site didn't have any accessibility to water, so when we do it, we put in the bottle fillers and the drinking fountain. We always dress it up as best we can to show the RealFresh and to line up with our branding. So these are going into other sites as well. Next, please. And again, like I said, everything is into the RealFresh logos on all vehicles. This delivers all the product out, hot and cold, to our product. Again, when we're RealFresh, everything must be made and delivered in that RealFresh mantra, and keep it to that as much as we can. Next, please. And again, every part of the marketing, not just our schools, we were able to redo the scoreboards at the schools, and again, take away the Pepsi logo what was up here. We repainted the scoreboard, and we were able to put the RealFresh logo on the school, so the public sees that as well. So that goes out to all, the RealFresh goes out to all levels of marketing in our district. Next, please. And then we're going to show some comparisons just real quick. The Turlock Junior High School, you can see from 2006, we were serving 51,000 meals, and by 2010, we have jumped to 147,000 meals, an increase of 185% in just the 4 years, or the 3 full years. Next, please. again, Turlock High School, we had a huge jump there. That Turlock High School was the Fresh Mex, and this is where we started our implementation just because it was a site that needed more work, and it was closer to my office, so I was able to spend more time there. And again, we saw an increase of 300% from in 2007, serving 66,000 meals up to 190+ thousand meals, an increase of 30,000%, and we're up another 5% this year. Next, please. And Pitt High School, another high school, had an increase. We started at 46,000. That was not a very low free and reduced site, and now we're up to 167,000 paid reimbursable meals. The paid meals have went from 5,000 to 36,000. So we've really been successful with the products and the quality and the branding. We've had an increase of 365%. Next, please. And the reimbursement, same kind of thing. As you can see how in 2006 we were sitting at revenue of $4.4 million and a lot of paid meals in there. And then it changed a little bit, and our reimbursements went up because we, again, switched everything to reimbursable meals, removed the a la carte, so of course our paid dollars went down, but it certainly went up in the federal funds and in state reimbursement. Next, please. And then our total bottom line from 2008 to 2007, I just put the 2008-9 to 2009-10, we have an increased revenue. We're at $5.8 million, and we've had an increase of revenue of 31%, which has been driven by Real Fresh, which has been driven by higher quality products, which has been driven by higher participation. Next, please. So, and tips for high impact, lower cost marketing: invest and develop your brand. This will be your foundation. So do that initial investment. If you have to borrow or thing, get that initial investment. Draw inspirations from other things, major marketing campaigns you see outside. You can see our colors kind of match the Baja Fresh, match other products. Initially, we changed with the colors of paint. It's very inexpensive to paint, and use your own staff to transform the cafeteria atmospheres. So we used a lot of in-house things initially as our dollars were not very high. So we created the posters, think out of the box. We knew that they was going to drive our products, so we wanted to stay with the nice look. We wanted to stay with colors. We wanted colors that were going to be ongoing and last us, so we wouldn't have to change every year. Format and messages from restaurants, fast food establishments. We all do it, distill from wherever we can. And if they're doing it, we don't have to recreate the wheel. Just stay with something that looks nice, something you enjoy, and something that's going to be sustainable. And then again, we after the initial investment, now our posters are costing us only $25, where initially they were $150, so you can save there. Next, please. And that's the final slide. We are operating a business in a diverse setting with ever-changing requirements, as we just found out. To market your program consistently will help you build an identity to guide you in your program through these changes. So that's what we wanted with Real Fresh. I wanted something that I wouldn't have to reinvent every year. This program has been growing and growing, and I expect this to grow over the next 10, 15 years and be here long after I am. So I appreciate that. And next, please. And that's what I always say. It's the end, but with Real Fresh, I believe it's just the beginning. Thank you very much, and we'll look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks so much, Scott. Great presentations. Exciting to see such, simple, effective strategies can translate into such significant meal participation rates.
Yes.
Let's move into our last presenter, Rodney Taylor with the Riverside Unified School District. And Rodney's going to be sharing Riverside's marketing, branding, and outreach strategies. Rodney?
Yes, welcome everyone. Would you go to the next slide, please? Most folks that are familiar with the work that we've done in the Riverside Unified School District may have seen this logo. It's something that we use to identify ourselves, the Farmers Market Salad Bar, which has received national attention. We buy from local farmers, and we have your all-you-can-eat self-serve salad bar, and of course the motto for it is locally grown, nationally known, and global in reach. Next slide, please. The important thing that I want to share with all of you as a food service director is the understanding that school food service has a poor perception, and deservedly so. our kids are obese. We're guilty of falling into fads and bringing in fast food and other things, and we saw participation is not what it should be, and our programs are suffering. They're tight. People have had to cut staff and so forth. And so we have to change that perception. Next slide, please. And by changing that perception, and the way we did it in Riverside with our salad bar is we wanted to tell parents that we'd take your 5-year-old and we would teach her to be a lifelong healthy eater, and that we would provide daily access to fresh fruits and vegetables, and then take advantage of the fact that we had nutritionists on staff to do the nutrition education. We took kids to the local farmers market, to the farms, brought farmers in the classroom, chef in the classroom. The important thing is that we wanted to conduct ourselves like a nutrition program. And I think that's important. If your nutrition services, then you have to act in a way that people understand what your role is in the education environment. I see it as an ability for us to augment the education of children, not to be the stepchild that no one wants to hear from. So the important thing when I came here to Riverside was we needed leadership and we needed a vision, and that's true anywhere. We as directors have to provide the leadership, and we have to have a vision for who we want to be when we grow up. And that's really what I'm going to talk a little about. Next slide, please. And so Scott talked about this, as did Alex. It's important that you develop your brand, you know who you are and what you want to be, and that you are constantly doing marketing and outreach and to ensure that the word is getting out. Many of you who are nutrition directors know that we hear all the time, we have programs in place, been in place 5 years, and yet somebody's telling us we didn't know that. And so the important thing to understand, as you looked at Scott's presentation, many of you would think right away, well, I don't have $25,000 to do market research, and the equipment was very, very nice, so you know that's expensive, and you might want to turn off and say, oh, I can't do that, and that's wrong. You need to understand that school food service is a business, and unless we treat it that way, you're going to continue to struggle. As an entitlement program, there won't be much in the way of entitlements, increased entitlements coming our way. So what we'll have to do is create our brand, go after our customers in the way that 7-Eleven or McDonald's and others that are in business competing for dollars are doing. And so the way we did it here in Riverside is our brand, I'll talk about in a second, but we wanted to change the ambiance, change the institutional feel of the school, to upgrade the quality of what we were offering, and really everything that we've done here has been behind the fact that we buy locally grown, we support the local economy. That resonates well in the community and the district, and I don't need to tell you, if you bought produce from the local farmers market, that what you get there is, nothing compares with it. You never want to buy in the store again. So we're getting kids produce at the peak of its season, making it user-friendly, and changing the way folks look at food service. So next slide, please. Our brand here in Riverside is WOW, and WOW is not an acronym. We were actually working on an acronym, but we came up with WOW. Come let us show you WOW. And the importance of that is when we would tell folks about what we were doing here in the district, the general response would be WOW. And but that's not where WOW came from. If you'll go to the next slide, you'll find that I was reading Tom Peters' book, The Pursuit of Wow, and for those of you who are interested in reading it, know that it's a little zany book to read. Tom Peters is a little off-kilter for me, but I like one thing he said. In his research, he was looking at organizations like Southwest Airlines, Nordstrom, and IBM, those that have performed well over a long period of time and have excelled at it. And they all contained a common thread, and that was the wow factor. And after reading that book and looking at my own organization, I realized that we possess some of those same characteristics that he talked about in his book, and brought that information back to our staff, and we developed our logo from that. And so, as Alex said, it's always important to include your staff in what you're doing when they're involved in painting the vision and understanding the vision, and it's a lot easier to convince people to work, towards the same goal. If you'll go to the next page, there's a one-page flyer that we have here, and this is one way to market, to give you a real snapshot of our program. This is something that we hand out to every parent, to every student, to every organization. This is, in place of a brochure, if you will. At one time, we had brochures for all of these, and of course, that gets expensive. And we found that this works as well as anything that we have, and it's an important tool because it's the introduction to our program. Next slide, please. We have all of the tools that most of you would have in place. Website to navigate that tells everything about our program, menus that are user-friendly and easy to read. This year we went to a menu calendar where we're able to do more marketing to the parents, because those of us who are parents remember when our children were young how important it was to have those menus up on the refrigerator, so we know if our child was allergic to something that they would need at school that day. So we actually serve two purposes. We give them the calendar to keep up with the days of the week and what's going on. But they have the menu there. But most importantly for us, it's a way of doing outreach. And I want you to know that that's gone so well in our district that the superintendent wants to sell advertisement rights on our menu. What I've been told is that $29,000 that we spent on menus and distributing those menus, we will not have to pay next year because advertisers will do it instead. And you saw our fact sheet, and I've talked about the calendar, and you're able to put promotions and other advertisements in there as well. The next slide. When you're marketing to someone, be sure you don't forget your employees. Here is when we were rolling out WOW, the huge presentation for all of staff, and your staff has to be on board. They have to understand this can't be done in a vacuum with a few leaders. If you're going to develop a lasting brand, it's going to be done in concert with staff, because it won't be successful unless they understand it, believe in it, and more importantly, they make it happen. Next slide, please. Some of the things that we do for outreach and as a part of our brand, you see that handsome young man with the two kids. I don't know who he is, probably Denzel, I don't know. Anyway, notice the apron and his shirt. One of the things we do are weekly barbecues where, next slide, me and my staff goes out and we do the cooking. It's simple hamburgers and hot dogs, but I can't begin to tell you how it excites principals to see that the director of food service goes out, or that the management team is involved enough that they're going to go out every Friday and barbecue for the kids. Next slide. It's a way to utilize your commodities. It's low cost. Everything is self-serve. We take a mobile barbecue out there, and we just the only thing that actually gets cooked on the barbecue are the hot dogs. The hamburgers are pre-cooked. Creates a lot of excitement. Next slide. For your kids, we hear comments like, you know, why are we having this? And this is the best day of my whole life. Next slide, please. Ultimately, this is what we want to see from every kid. And forgive the chips in there. When we started this, it was a way of drawing kids. We wanted the chips, and we've taken those out and replaced it with fresh fruits and vegetables, and the kids love that just as much. In our secondary schools, next slide, please. What I want you to see is, and this menu is available on our website, some of the things that we've done to transform the secondary schools. And the reason that that's important to have this handout, which is our menu, is to see that like your local malls where we go into the food courts and you have multiple choices, we provide the same for our students through our daily specials in South of the Border and Taste of Italy, the Orient Express. We really have to compete with outside organizations, otherwise we're going to find our kids aren't participating with us. And next slide, please. This slide shows that you don't need the kind of money that Scott was able to invest to transform your cafeteria. This is a dining room that, quite frankly, was a dungeon, had the institutional tables and paint chipping and everything else. And here you see where we were able to go in and put in banners that cost us about $25 each, I'm sorry, $50 each for the banners. And staff went in and did the painting, and we shared the cost with principals to transform the table seating. Next slide, please. Here's a middle school where, you know, we'd normally have one long line where kids were going through, and at the end of the line, we'd have a point of sale. We took out the railings, talked the principal into allowing us to go in and paint the different themes in, put in multiple points of sale. Where there was one, we now have 5. And we were able, again, to transform the dining room. We didn't go as far as changing the tables here. The principal wasn't interested in sharing the cost. Next slide, please. This is a middle school with walk-up windows, and we took out the railings and just painted in lines, assured the principals that the kids wouldn't strangle each other, and the other things that we're always so fearful as adults that our kids don't know how to govern themselves. And then created a look that, you know, kids know where they wanted to go, and it was in a colorful way. Next slide is we have barbecues in all our secondary schools. We wanted to smell up the schools so kids could smell the barbecue while they were in class, and then come out to our daily barbecue where we offer 5 menu choices, which you can see some of them. The hamburger, the hot dog, hot link, spicy chicken patty, grilled chicken, and the barbecue. And we're looking at the commodity chicken that will do some rubs and barbecue along with our chef. And next slide, you'll see where we're always branding everything. And this is a new line where we asked the chef to come up with healthy sandwiches and salads for kids, and to introduce products that wouldn't normally be in a middle or high school. The ciabatta bread, we have a chicken fajita ciabatta sandwich, which we're able to introduce the more expensive ciabatta bread by utilizing the fajita chicken. Next page. The next page is a picture of some of those items and how In the past, we would offer potato chips. We were able to add more fresh fruits and vegetables, and as we look at the new menu requirements, if you take a look at these, you'll see we're well positioned to meet whatever demands that USDA comes up with. Next slide, please. Here is just some other salads that the chef came up with, and the packaging and how we brand and try and notice that we use a much more expensive salad dressing, the Asian sesame, something that we wouldn't normally be able to use, but if just by using your commodities smartly, you're able to reduce your protein cost, which allows you to spend more money on packaging, on stickers and banners and other things that you want. Next slide. If you take a look at the slide here, you see what happened when we introduced Fresh Express. We had our banners out. We took the chef out. This was done after lunch. We're not going to do anything that cuts into lunch sale. And then we introduced the items, and so kids can try. We really push for them to try everything. Next slide. And another brand within our brand is the chef himself, because, you know, the celebrity chefs are big in society right now. And certainly the First Lady's chef moved to stool. We were ahead of that. We had Chef Ryan, who we hired away from the local university, and we asked him to take us to the next level, to offer items that wouldn't normally be found in school districts. And you might ask me, well, Rodney, that's fine, all of those things, but how did it work? How did it transform your program? Did the branding work? How do people see your program? Well, in 2002, when I came here, we had a deficit. We owed the general fund $3.1 million, and we couldn't make the $500,000 lease payment on the new central kitchen we had built. Over a 10-year period now, I speak to you today, having eradicated the $3.1 million in debt. We now have a $5.7 million reserve after generating operating reserves the last 2 years in excess of 12%, or over $1 million both years. At one point, we grew at $1 million. We grew our revenue at $1 million a year. But more importantly, we took a look at our operations and questioned why we did what we did. We continued to do outreach and marketing. And what I will say to you, for those of you who say, well, I'm a struggling operation. Well, you weren't struggling as much as the $3 million we owed, and at the same time, we're investing $300,000 in the salad bar program. If you're going to run a business, you must make an investment, and you must be aggressive in your advertising, your outreach, and your branding to parents, to students, to your employees, and throughout the district. And we've been successful in doing that, and I know that each and every one of you can. I will end by saying, reciting a quote, which is simple: without deviation from the norm, progress is not possible. If you continue to do the same thing, you're going to continue to get the same results, and school food service will continue to have a black eye in many people's minds. We have to aggressively go out and talk about who we are and what we do, and I think Scott has shown that. Alex has shown very academically how, you know, methodically we can go through the process, take a look at what your program is, who you want to be when you grow up, and go out and have some fun and make some money and offer your kids a nutritious program that will reduce the effects of obesity. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Rodney. I want to once again apologize in the middle of our webinar for that glitch, but we ended up getting back to almost full participation from the original sign-on. So thanks to everybody for jumping back on and bearing with us today. I want to broadly thank all of our speakers today, Alex, Scott, and Rodney, for sharing some key tools and success stories for how districts can use marketing and branding techniques to boost participation and to change their overall image of their cafeteria environment. Just a quick housekeeping, we've gotten a series of questions over the last hour. Just want to remind folks, if they want to ask a question, to type those in right now, and we're going to field those questions to all of our speakers. I guess we have quite a few questions. I'll start with Scott. One of our participants asked, did the $25,000 for marketing come from the district's general budget? And then how did you quote-unquote sell that?
It did come from the additional general fund budget. And how did I just told them that we needed to make the change. We had a very supportive board, and it was, and I told them that I would be paying that back. So just with the success of Real Fresh. So yes, just knowing that we needed to make the change, and it was just once I did the presentation, it was a pretty easy sell.
Great. Another question, a follow-up question for Scott. Why did you only focus on high school students when you were conducting your surveying and your focus group testing?
Because that's where I needed the most work. That's where the elementary, we had focused so much on elementary, and the previous director had done a great job. The high school needed the most work, so that's where I felt the biggest change in perception needed to be. And so I wanted to work high school and work down.
And this question, I think, goes broadly to Rodney and Scott. Do your schools have to compete with outside businesses, or are they closed campuses?
Turlock is closed campus.
And we have semi-closed campus. Parents can opt their kids out and allow them to go away at lunch. The important thing, though, is that we're always in business with outside competitors. If we don't have a program that kids have confidence in, they will eat on their way to school and eat on their way after school. You don't need someone to compete during school, so it's important that regardless of what you're facing, that your approach is still the same. It's very aggressive. You're competing with those surrounding food outlets.
Yes, that's excellent said, Rodney. That's exactly what I would say. We still compete every day, even though I have a closed campus. Those students choose to spend their money with us or not.
Another question, I think, for both of you. When your participation increased, did you do anything to shorten the lines?
Actually, in our particular case, we were able to speed the lines up because all of our points of sale only offer reimbursable meals. So when the kids got in the line, we didn't have to stand up there and wait on them to tell us what they wanted because it was a reimbursable lunch. So they just got their product and they went away. A funny story we like to tell is when we got a call from a middle school principal who wanted to talk to us, and he wanted us to close a few points of sale because the lines were going too fast and they didn't have enough supervision to supervise the kids during lunch. So, we did an excellent job of reducing that time the kids have to make decisions.
Yes, and what we did is we opened other point of sales, but we also, again, like I said, took all the snack items away, so we didn't have 4 girls standing in line for a bag of chips, or gentlemen, they do it as well. And also we isolated the areas, so the Fresh Mex area is just Fresh Mex, and deli, Real Fresh Deli is in that area, so we isolated areas a little better.
If folks can just stay on with us a few more minutes, we have a few more questions that are coming through. What criteria did you actually, let me read this. What criteria did you consider for the new packaging of your materials? Cost, appearance, durability, eco-friendly, etc.?
Oh, go ahead, Scott.
No, I was going to say initially it wasn't cost, it was just appearance. The eco-friendly hadn't come in yet, so it's basically just appearance. We had the fresh products, we just wanted to present as well. Cost, certainly we looked at, but at that time we knew we'd have to spend a little more for that.
I think it's important to understand that you can have a great product and yet if we don't merchandise it properly, no one's going to eat it. We buy with our eyes first, and when a kid looks at their lunch and it's in a brown box or in a typical boat, we tried a number of different packaging and merchandising ideas. We probably spend more money on packaging than most school districts. We're able to keep our costs down, as I showed you with the salad dressing. That the chef introduced one salad, the Mandarin orange chicken salad, where he used the fajita chicken, and that allowed us to spend a little more on the packaging as well as the dressing. So it's that kind of thought process that has to go into everything that you are offering your students, and ensuring that it has eye appeal. And the chef has been wonderful in teaching us those culinary skills.
So we have a couple more questions that I think are directed to all of our speakers, and then we'll do next steps in a minute. So the first question is, what suggestions do you have for sending out informational material to parents to dispel the negative perception of school food with keeping it brief and not sounding too defensive?
Alex? Okay, I'll jump in there. We go to all of the registration days when school is started, and we have a booth there for parents to fill out applications for the meal program. But more importantly, we're in that line with our handouts and brochures and our branded water, our WOW water and WOW pins and lanyards and everything else, and we're telling people about our program enthusiastically. We're offering them water with fresh fruit. We do the same thing at back to school and open house. The first week of school, we have staff in the front of the schools with a table so that the office staff isn't interrupted, and we're telling about our program. We're in the community, involved in everything. We take our salad bar anywhere we can, so that we are always showing the community, the parents, and anyone else that'll let us show up what our program is about. The salad bar is very, people get very excited about it. It's the vehicle that moves things for us.
And that's the part of creating a brand.
Great, thanks. And the last question is, with limited funds, what would be the #1 change you would direct your efforts towards?
I would say the environment, with like I said, the painting, just do those little things. Just do, the inexpensive things, limited funds. I know, just.
Scott, I think we're having difficult hearing you.
Yeah, I think just start with the things you can do. The painting's cheap. Just start somewhere, even with limited funds. Just like Rodney said, if you don't start, you'll never start. So I would say with the atmosphere, the environment of the eating place initially.
Yeah, I would agree. The banners are very inexpensive. Painting, you'd be surprised how employees are willing to get involved with it. There's a number of small, just take small steps. Note that Scott has been in his district 20 years and I've been here 10 years. We didn't get in this mess overnight, and we're not going to change it overnight. It's one bite at a time for that elephant, and you just keep going at it, and one day you'll wake up with a program that you're pretty excited about, that you envisioned, and it came to fruition, and that's pretty satisfying.
Thank you so much to all of our participants again, and we really appreciate you taking the time today. And then thanks to all those folks who were on the phone as well. I just wanted to showcase, you'll see a slide up there right now. Our team here has collated some key resources. Just to remind folks, the recording of the webinar will be sent to everybody who is on the webinar today. It will be shared tomorrow. And all of these resources that have been collated here will be included in an email. So look out for a follow-up email in the next day or so with links to a survey. We really encourage folks to take the time to fill out our survey of the webinar, what worked for you, what didn't work for you. You'll also see a list of resources and a recording of the webinar. And keep your eye out on in your inbox over the next.
May not be, but it's.
For our next, we have one remaining webinar that will be convening in the next month or so. So keep an eye out for that email. I think that's about it. Thanks so much again to all our presenters, and enjoy the rest of your day.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.